everybody is a special guest, and a special thank you from our Federal Treasurer, Dr. Jim Tama. And I know it's very kind of special, but he made it for us. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. And David Persis, thank you so much for being guests. And also our good friend, Afghan Community Council, the President and Founder, Dr. Iqbal, all the way from Melbourne. Thank you so much. And our friend Afghan community leaders, Dr. Abdullah and all, thank you so much for making time to be here. And every single of you is special for me. Citizenship is something very special to me. And the President is going to Gaylesville, basically. Because what happened, one day I just stand up to Gaylesville and of course a multicultural Australian citizenship ceremony, and I asked her like, how do you have to do this? Is that specifically people to do it, or anyone can make a citizenship ceremony? She said, yeah, I can do it. And I was like, are you sure? She said, yes. So that was the time of joy in my life in the last 30 years in Australia. Why? Because I come to Australia with just a piece of paper with no passport as an emergency, as a travel document. After 3 or 4 years, some emergency come up home. I need to be at home in 15 days back to my family. So I was young, couldn't understand how to get it done and how to go to get nothing, didn't understand nothing, couldn't even speak the language even. So basically, I went to travel agency, asked him I want to go back to Afghanistan, back to my country. I need a ticket. So that time, 1,500 was a lot of money. I had a cash in my hand, and it's like 3 years saving. So the gentleman booked the ticket and everything, said, can I make passport? I said, what's passport? Yeah, they said, what's passport? Because I didn't know what passport means or how it's works. So this gentleman asked me to go to the office of citizenship, get your passport and all of those things. The main important part of that is the gentleman was sitting there and asked him for the passport, and he said, do you have citizenship? I said, no, I don't. I said, did you apply for it? He said, yes, I've done 6 months ago. I said, why do you want to go home? Very young, and then I came and I started crying. I said, I want to see my mom. And he said, just give me 5 minutes and I come back to you. He went to back office, come back with a Bible and asked me to the fridge. That made me, in 24 hours, to be citizen of Australia, get the passport. This is the country we are staying and basically calling home. So I would like to acknowledge this opening the ceremony by acknowledging the traditional custodian of the land. Originally belonged to Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who respect the elders and past and present, the first people of the whom we gratefully homage and we call this land home. And also I would like to acknowledge those the ancestors, Afghan Pashtun families who came to Australia in 1860 and built a strong foundation for us for the proud of it. Today is the day for new citizens who is actually putting Australia home. Today is the day, today is the last week of the nation refugee week, which is an important week for all of us to come to Australia as refugees, as migrants, and build a better and strong foundation for our family and ourselves. Together we celebrated the spiritual and unity, diversity, resilience that define Australia and our people, allowing us to be together, a strong Australian, and call ourselves Australian. So, if I talk about Australia, it will take another half an hour. How proud I am, because back at home in Afghanistan, I don't have any right to stand up and even go outside without a 10-year-old man. But in this country, they're giving me a right to stand up in front of the federal government and speaking out. This is the country I am calling home.
Hi everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. can I begin by thanking Auntie Yvonne for sharing culture with us, and can I acknowledge that unity, the Yugambeh and Gabba people from this part of South East Queensland, the traditional custodians. And really just to pick up, Auntie, on what you said about the storylines that run through our country, which is a really beautiful way of thinking about 65,000 years of continuous First Nations culture in our country. So if you wouldn't mind putting your hands together. And can I also thank, while I'm at it, Emily and Caitlin. Now, Emily and Caitlin and I are old friends. We spent some time in Canberra just this past week. It was the sitting week in Canberra, and Rita was kind enough to introduce me to these two wonderful women, future leaders in our community. We had a meeting about some of the issues in my work, but also some of their hopes and aspirations for the future as well. I'm just so proud and so pleased that you're directing Crashing tonight, so if we can put our hands together for a second. And that brings me to Galila and Ewa. Thank you so much for hosting us here. This is I wanted to give her a heads up so that we can turn around for the selfie video. Galila, thank you so much, not just for hosting us tonight, but for really quite remarkably warm friendship and leadership that you've provided in our community for such a long time. We appreciate you so much.
This settlement group,
Yeah.
Suhail, Sharma, and Nihal.
Thank you, Galila, and to all of your team. Thank you so much for the work that you do here in Springwood, but much further afield as well, right around Australia. Thank you so much. And to Rita for bringing us together. This is really, in lots of ways, the kind of who's who of our local community, and that's, I think, a demonstration of the respect and the regard that we have for you and for your work and for your organisation as well. And so to put on a gathering like this tonight, where we get to welcome 25 new citizens or thereabouts from 14 different countries, is a tribute to your work and your leadership and the way that you have embraced our community. We're so fortunate for that. If you put your hands together for Rita. And when you think about it, you think about the remarkable contribution of Galila and Rita and so many people around the world. It is really a pretty stunning illustration of the kind of contribution that people make to this country when they decide to become a citizen of Australia. But whether you're leading community organisations like they are, when you're raising these wonderful kids and instilling in them the right values to be great Australians in the future, whether you're creating businesses or working hard for your loved ones, all of the different ways that new citizens make such a terrific contribution to our country. Tonight is really, in addition to some formalities which I'll get to in a moment, tonight is really a celebration of contribution of new Australians, generation after generation, and really what you mean to the future of our country as well. And the reason why, and I acknowledge David Fully, I acknowledge my local colleagues, John Raven, Mindy Russell, Theresa Lane, and Rowan Hosford is here from Murray Watts office as well. The reason we absolutely love coming to these events is because the ultimate compliment that you pay our community, our local community, but also our country, is the decision that you want to be part of, I can see Abid Jamal nodding, and so many of you understand, I think, the pride that we feel in understanding and knowing that you have chosen to be part of our local community and to be part of our country as well, and that's what tonight is all about. Now, as the presiding officer, I wanted to warn you in advance that there are a few formalities tonight which I need to go through to make sure that we do this right, to make sure that Mel doesn't ask us to do it all over again tomorrow night. And so there are some formalities some things that I need to read, and some things that I'm hoping will join me, pledges, affirmations, and the like. And I'm also conscious that we've got a number of other wonderful speakers as well. So why don't I get into it now? Because the first formality is for me to read a statement from my friend, the Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, a guy called Andrew Giles from your neck of the woods in Melbourne, a great friend of mine and colleague in the National Parliament, and I'm required to read a statement from him that goes like this. Thank you for deciding to become an Australian citizen. Today you join a nation that is one of the world's most successful multicultural societies, with around half of all Australians either born overseas or with at least one parent born overseas. In Australia, everyone can be proud of who they are, and everyone should be respected, valued, and feel a sense of belonging. We are privileged to share this beautiful country with the world's oldest continuing culture. This is a fundamental part of who we are. For more than 60,000 years, First Nations people have cared for country. Appreciating and understanding this truth is a vital part of it, and it's to be Australian. Australians are united by our shared commitment to democracy and the rule of law, and the freedom of speech, religion and association. Our diversity is our greatest strength, and we prosper by embracing it. We believe in a society in which everyone is equal, regardless of their gender, faith, sexual orientation, age, ability, race, national or ethnic origin. Ours is the land of the fair go, in which respect and compassion underpin our care for each other and our willingness to reach out to those around us in times of need. By becoming an Australian citizen, you make a commitment to these values and contribute to our evolving Australian story. On behalf of the Australian Government, heartfelt congratulations on becoming an Australian citizen. So now I think I hand the microphone back to I will introduce to you some wonderful speakers, including Gail Kerr.
Start by acknowledging, obviously, the traditional owners of the land in which we gather to hear the Indigenous people. I've been on tourable land as well today at other events at which many of us are at. But of course, this one is particularly special. Christine, as you stepped off the plane, I had the absolutely unenviable or enviable task of welcoming and so being on the other side of that tarmac to say welcome, to come into Australia. As a fifth generation Australian, I never had one for citizenship myself, where I see so many people with their head in the car, throw the Bible, take the oath, and pledge to Australia. And, you know, the privilege of witnessing people doing that is something that really sits at the heart of and I can tell you, I've been privileged to go to uni to an event that was convened by Antonio Guterres, who was the High Commissioner for Refugees, and that was right, and it was a women's event. And I was talking about the power of the voice of women. But if there was more voice of women in communities, in faith, in government, in our government institutions, in politics, would we have the conflict we've got today? Perhaps we would, but I'm sure we'd have a much more balanced view. But what really happened at that event was something that sits with me today constantly. You know the thing you hear or the thing you see you can't walk past? But a young woman shared the story of, you know, a horrendous situation where a young woman was murdered and no crime was committed because she technically didn't exist. She had no paperwork. She literally was an invisible person. So I'm so proud that in our Australia, under our Australian government, we have citizenship. We have your rights. You are more than welcome. You belong. Not just that you fit in, you belong. So please, feel the absolute pressure and privilege that citizenship bestows upon you. So welcome to all of you. Please understand what people live in the world. I know I don't have to tell that. We know many of you more than that, I welcome you to fellow Australians, to local, to Queensland, to Australia. Thank you. Best of luck for the future.
Thank you very much, Gail, for your kind words and
first pledge is the one that includes the words under God, and the second one is the version that doesn't include under God. So I'm going to read the preamble, and then hopefully we can make some pledges, and then we give an affirmation after that. So first of all, I'm required to read the following. Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia. And Australian citizenship is a common bond involving reciprocal rights and responsibilities, rights and obligations, uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons on whom Australian citizenship is conferred enjoy these rights and undertake the second obligation. A, by pledging loyalty to Australia and its people. B, by sharing its democratic beliefs. C, by respecting their rights and liberties. And D, by upholding and obeying the laws of Australia. Okay, so now, should I invite, if you are becoming a citizen tonight and you've agreed to give the first pledge, if you're able to stand, if you wouldn't mind standing in your place, if you're giving the first pledge. Okay, so if you have your pledge text, or if you'd like to repeat after me, please. Let's go. From this time forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I hold. Perfectly done. Well done. Please take it. Next, could I invite friends who have agreed to take the second pledge, pledge 2. If you could please stand in your place if you're able. We'll all pledge 1 and 3. I want to be especially sure that there's no pledge 2. Okay, wonderful, that's very efficient of you. Okay, now we get to the part that everyone who is present is able to join in. If you are not yet an Australian citizen, if you're a family member or something, someone who you are not yet an Australian citizen, if you could join us on the second line. Otherwise, instead of repeating after me on this occasion, we're just going to do it all together. So whether you're a new citizen tonight, a citizen of longer standing, then this is hopefully for everyone to participate in all together. As an Australian citizen, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I uphold and obey. Well done. Give yourself a big round. I'm going to hand you back to our wonderful MCs. I think we're in for a treat in a moment.